Good afternoon. I'm China Green. We're following breaking news out of Florida, where NBC News is reporting one person is dead and multiple others are hurt following a shooting at Florida State University. A person familiar with the incident tells the Associated Press police have taken a suspect into custody. A spokesperson for the hospital that received the patient says at least 6 people are in the hospital. One of them is in critical condition. The White House press secretary says President Donald Trump has been briefed on the shooting and is monitoring the situation.
It's a shame. It's a horrible thing. Horrible that things like this take place. And we'll have more to say about it later.
The FBI is on scene right now. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis released a statement saying, "Our prayers are with our FSU family." We'll continue to follow this incident for further development. Stay updated on air, on our website, KGW.com, or on our free KGW News app. For years, Oregon students have struggled in the classroom. 4th graders statewide rank among the worst nationally in math and reading. And this morning, several superintendents spoke at a forum to discuss problems they're facing and possible solutions. Thomas Schultz was at that forum and joins us from downtown Portland. So, Thomas, what did they have to say?
Well, China, there's a lot they were talking about. You mentioned those low reading scores. They were also talking about chronic absenteeism. And these problems have become bigger. Behavioral issues have become bigger post-pandemic, they say. Now, these school leaders say there's also just not enough funding they're seeing right now to go around for all of their goals. This morning, we heard from the leaders of 2 of Oregon's biggest school districts, Portland Public and Beaverton, as well as the superintendent of Park Rose in Northeast Portland. A large portion of the forum was spent talking about those literacy scores. Oregon 4th graders are among the worst nationally, and that's an important age group. When kids are around 9 and 10 years old, there's a shift. By that point, they're supposed to know how to read and to start using that skill set to learn in other subjects. The problem is many kids are way behind. If they struggle to read, problems then just snowball. Superintendents say there are solutions, though. They urge people in attendance at the Portland Metro Chamber Forum to become more involved in their schools, to tutor kids, and vote for school measures. Importantly, they're also pushing for more money from state lawmakers as well.
Our students who are reading at grade level is concerning, and so we need to put our resources where our students are. And that's our commitment locally. I want it to be our commitment statewide.
And school funding has been a big topic for more than a year, as you know, China. Now, lawmakers have agreed with schools that, look, yeah, more needs to be done. But recently, Governor Kotek and some other state legislators have also said we need more accountability on exactly how these dollars are being spent. Over the past few years, even as Oregon has allocated more money towards schools, those scores in reading and math have continued to slide. China?
Thank you, Thomas. All right, now turning to weather. We're going to join meteorologist Rod Hill up on our weather deck. Let me take a good look at you. Yep, sunny. Looks like we have another good sunny day.
All right, this is how we check out sky conditions. Are you ready, China?
Let's go.
We stand outside. We kind of shield ourselves if it's sunny, our eyes, we can see. We do a 360, and I can report there's literally not a cloud in the sky.
Yes.
That's how it's done. What a gorgeous day. We are up here on the KGW weather deck, brought to you by Rick's Custom Fencing and Decking. Let's go to the coast. The last 2 mornings, we've seen some low cloud cover along the Oregon beach, but our Lincoln City sky camera is showing not the case today. In fact, it's been like this all day, just wonderfully clear. And it is 64 degrees. Talk about just a wonderful April afternoon along the beach. And it's just as clear all areas inland. Here's the Oregon Veteran Zone camera out in the Dalles. You can see snow-covered Mount Hood there on the left side of your screen, 62 out in the gorge. The winds are north to northeast, and so far not much of a breeze out at the airport in the Dalles. And here's downtown showing you the clear skies as we look up I-5 to the north. We're at 64. Yesterday at this time, we were only in the 50s, and we still made it to 70s. So 72 seems like it ought to be an easy achievement this afternoon. Maybe we hit 73 or 74. It'll be mainly clear for you overnight tonight. Now, coming up in my complete weather forecast, of course, we'll start using Futurecast to give you a better idea of what to expect Easter weekend. Remember, the weather pattern does a drastic shift, if you will, Friday overnight into that weekend, and that forecast is coming up. For now, we're live on the weather deck.
Thank you, Rod. On Wall Street, growing concerns about the fallout from the tariffs on products around the world. The Fed chair also warning about the impact on inflation. NBC's senior White House correspondent Garrett Hake has more.
Back in the spotlight this morning, President Trump's sweeping global trade war. The stock market sinking again Wednesday, the tech-heavy NASDAQ down more than 3%, amid new warnings about the impact of Trump tariff policies from the Federal Reserve Chairman.
Tariffs are highly likely to generate at least a temporary rise in inflation. The inflationary effects could also be more persistent.
To the World Trade Organization, which said in a new report that the outlook for global trade has, quote, deteriorated sharply due to a surge in tariffs and trade policy uncertainty. That uncertainty rattling businesses nationwide, from Wisconsin farmers who can't sell their crops thanks to retaliatory tariffs.
The gentleman that bought our product in China just wants to hold because he can't afford to pay the tariff right now.
To toy stores in California that can't afford to stock their shelves.
It's very, very scary because, it feels like everything we work for is like it's go toward tax.
The Golden State's governor filing a lawsuit against the federal government Wednesday, claiming President Trump lacks the authority to unilaterally implement the tariffs, inflicting billions of dollars in damages to the state's economy.
No state is poised to lose more than the state of California. This is recklessness at another level.
The president defending his tariffs, falsely inflating the revenue they've brought in.
We were making $2 billion and $3 billion a day. We never made money like that. It could replace the income tax. That's the kind of money
it's incredible.
But Customs and Border Protection, the agency which collects the tariffs, told CNBC in a statement that they've brought in $500 million in tariff revenue since April 5th and $21 billion in total since Inauguration Day. The president now focused on hammering out new trade deals, meeting with a Japanese delegation at the White House Wednesday, later posting big progress.
New developments today after police arrested a man that they have been tracking for a couple of days now. 44-year-old Raul Nava Jr. made his first court appearance this morning, where he pleaded not guilty to all charges. It's after police walked away from a standoff with him earlier this week when he threatened officers with a knife. Now, that started Monday when they tried to arrest Nava on an ID theft warrant. When they approached him, he ran, threatened them with a knife, and sprayed one officer with mace. After a 3-hour standoff with police, officers backed away. Fast forward to Wednesday, officers evacuated buildings around Nava's tent so they could surround him using CS gas to bring him into custody. While police say this was a safer move, the heavy police response sparked mixed reaction from neighbors.
There was a whole SWAT team, and this looks like a lot of people to get into custody, this one person.
I hope that the person taken into custody gets the help that they need, and that we maybe this drives home the importance of de-escalation.
Nava Jr. was booked into jail last night after going to the hospital for a medical evaluation. The judge set his bond at $5,000 for the new charges and $1,000 for the ID theft case. Meantime, lawmakers in Salem are considering a bill that would give police in the state more authorities to use drones. Senate Bill 238 would do away with some of the current restrictions in place, giving police permission to respond with a drone to any emergency in progress. Now, it received bipartisan support in the Senate, with only 3 Republicans opposing. But the ACLU says the bill is too broad and could allow for an invasion of privacy.
We see that as ripe for abuse in terms of surveilling public protests, demonstrations, gatherings of any kind. And so we're very concerned about the police using drones to chill free speech and free expression.
If it's a crime that's happening right now, something that has occurred or, is occurring, as we're talking, right? Well, then there's not time to get a warrant. So we can put a drone in the air and search for that suspect who might be running through a neighborhood or out into the community.
The bill is now moving through the House. If passed, it would head to Governor Tina Kotek's desk. The federal government is getting involved in dispute between the La Center School District and the state of Washington over gender and pronouns. So 2 years ago, the district's superintendent issued a policy that teachers are not allowed to ask students their pronouns. Students are still allowed to offer them. The policy also called for schools to contact parents if a student questions their gender or transitions. Last month, the state of Washington issued a report calling the policy discriminatory and ordered the district to change it. A superintendent refused.
School boards determine policy, and the law says that we can adopt or amend that policy, specifically for the gender inclusive schools policy that the state has dictated to us, but it says we can amend it. So in that realm, we want to work with parents, not against parents.
That's where the feds come in. The Department of Education sent a letter Monday to the state of Washington saying that they are launching an investigation into the Officer of Seeing Washington's K-12 system for potential violations of federal law around student privacy and discrimination. Back in Portland, a temporary library is opening in the St. John's neighborhood after Multnomah County closed a library branch there for renovation. So the temporary site is set to open next month. It's located on the ground floor of an apartment complex here at the corner of North Lombard and Richmond. It will stay open until the historic St. John's Library reopens a year from now. The new library comes at a cost of $13 million.